For the Unit 2 test review, keyword, what's the keyword on this one? Jacob? Domain, so circle that. Circle it on your paper. Circle it on your paper. What does domain mean? X, so put an X on your paper. Do it on your paper as well. In this particular problem, what is X? X is nickels. Underline or circle that. X is nickels. So these answer choices are referring to nickels. So we always start with 0. Start with 0 nickels. All right. Can I have 0 nickels, but I'm allowed to have dimes and make 65 cents? I didn't mean to put a decimal there. You can't have 0 nickels. That's not possible. So you mark out A and you mark out C. They both have the number 1, so do we need to test it?
Yes.
They both have it.
Yes.
So we don't have to test it.
Oh, no. You don't have to test it.
Right. So now let's test 2. If I have 2 nickels, how much money is that? Hold it. 2 nickels will give me 10 cents, and then dimes are just 10s as well. Right? So if you count by 10s, can you get up to 65? So 2 doesn't work either, so the answer must be D. Okay. All right. Number 2, Blake, read it for us.
$10 is given by the linear function. C T equals 10 plus DT, where T is the number of hours you use your acquisition of what is the cost for running your air for 2 days straight.
Good. Tamara, give me something to circle. Good. So I'm going to circle that. You should do it on your paper. Dylan, what else should we circle?
Where T is the number of hours used.
Perfect. T is the number of hours. T is the number of hours. Jacob Shelton, something else I should circle. What's it asking for? What's it asking for? 2 days. Okay? 2 days. That's what we're going to circle. 2 days. All right. This one is trying to trick you. The place to put something in is T. T stands for the number of hours. Is this 2 hours? It's 2 days. 48 hours. 48 hours. So I need to set up my frame. C empty set equals 10 plus 2 empty set. So I put an empty set of parentheses wherever there's a T. Gracie, what's going in the set of parentheses? What number? We had to convert it. 48. Okay. Zaria, what do you get when you type that in? Mm-hmm. 106. Raise your hand if you got that. 106. Okay, good. Uh-huh. All right. Number 3. Dylan, read it. Good. Haley, what's something I should circle? Uh-huh. Daniel, tell me about rate of change. Good. Rate of change is slope. If I write it, you should write it. Andrea, what can you tell me about the slope formula? Got your formula sheet with you? Go ahead and get that out. So there's slope. So what's the formula for that? Well, just the formula. Good. Y minus y over x minus x. Okay? We don't have any points yet. Tamara, what would be my first point that I could make? What would be the first point? Comma what? What goes with 1998? What number? 101. Dylan, what's going to be my next point?
Next point will be
Good. Okay. All right, Gracie, what do I put for y minus y? What two numbers? Very good. 101 minus 129. Blake, what about on the bottom? All right. Dylan, what do you get on top? Type it in again. 101 minus 129. Negative 28. Tamara, what do you get on the bottom? This will be counted wrong on the test if you leave your answer like that. If you leave your answer like that, it'll be counted wrong. Daniel? 4 is your final answer. 4 is your final answer. Yeah. Number 4. Blake, read it.
the original value of the computer is $4,000. It decreases in value at the rate of $500 per year. Which graph has the value of the computer as a function of its age and year?
Good. Ethan G., help me write a y equals for this one. Very good. 4,000 minus 500x. Jacob Shelton, why did he put minus? And Ethan G., why did you put an x next to 500? Because it's per year. Okay? Yes, Blake? Why? Good. H is going up, and what is ours doing right here? Going down. Okay? All right, I know this one's a little hard to see, but it's going down 500, and what can you put underneath 500? A 1. All right, so if I'm at 4,000, and I need to go down 500, I don't have to count 500 blocks on this one, because it's already numbered for me. From 4,000 to 3,000 is there, so 500 would be 3,500 right there. I'd go down 500 and over 1. Does F work? Nope. All right, G, you start here, you go down 500 and over 1. Does G work? Yep. Yes. You can, but yeah. All right, number 5. Daniel, what am I going to circle? Tamara, what do I do when I see slope? Y minus y over x minus x. Jacob Shelton, what's going in for the y's? Good. 32 minus 48. So this is my y, and that's my x. So you always want to label your table. And Haley, what goes in for your x's? Not for x. 2 and 5. All right, when you type this one in your calculator, so 32 minus 48, I get negative 16 over then I'm going to type in the bottom 2 minus 5, and that gives me negative 3. Now, in my calculator, if I want to double check that, I'm going to type in negative 16 divided by negative 3. When it gives me a decimal, you hit math, enter, enter, and it gives you 16 over 3. Math, enter, enter is how you turn it back into a fraction. You got to type in negative 16 over negative 3.
Math equals.
No, you didn't type in negative 16. Oh. All right, so you get positive 16 over 3. Now we're going to label, label, label. Label, label, label. Guys, look up here. This is the most important thing I'm going to say today. This top is y. That's what the top equation said. This was y values. These are y values. So this is a y value. 16 is a y value. What is the y? Hours or amount? Y is the amount. So this is the amount. 3 is on the bottom. What's on the bottom of the formula? X. So you look up here, X is hours. Okay, so 16 is the amount. Amount is measured in what? You can say the answer when I ask you the question. What's amount measured in? Which is what? Money. All right, so $16 and 3 hours. So $16 every 3 hours. All right, so that's how that one makes sense. Yes, Daniel.
If we, I was saying if we circle D, and we leave it, if we leave negative 16 and over negative 3.
Number 6. Number 6. This is what we learned on Friday. So you got your graph. So you start with answer choice A. 3. So I'll put a 3. You got to work this one out. This one requires some work, but it's worth it to get the points that you need for your grade. So 3. And then the next thing I see, you go exactly in the order. The next thing you see is the letter Y. So you put a Y beside of it. 3Y. Then you read plus, so you put a plus sign. What do you see after the plus?
2 times the number.
Good. 2. So you write a 2. What's the next thing you see that's important? An X. Okay, and write this on your paper somewhere so you have this to study. At least, write this on your paper. A lot of people were asking about this. At least is opposite an L. It's opposite direction of an L. It's greater than or equal to. It's opposite of what you would think. So at least is not an L one. It's opposite of an L. At most is the one that's in the direction of an L. All right, at most is that one. Okay, so at least is greater than or equal to 60. Before I circle that, before I choose that as my answer, what has to happen to that? What do you have to do to that equation right there? Solve it. Very good. You have to solve it. You got to draw your line. And what are we solving for? Y. This one you're solving for Y. So I circle Y. Because anytime you're looking at a graph, it has to be in Y equals format to have a starting value. All right, so Jacob Shelton, what moves to the other side? Good. And then you divide everything by 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop here because this is a greater than or equal to sign. And it did it flip? No. So I can go ahead and test it. This is greater than. Where do you shade for greater than? Above. Did they shade above? No. Remember, too, that less than is your left hand, because they both start with L. Left hand is your less than, all right? Less than is what makes your left hand, okay? So A does not work. All right, Tamara, help me write out B.
2y plus 3x at least 60.
So it less than or equal to 60. Yep, it flips to a less than or equal to 60. Okay? All right, Daniel, what am I going to do next right here? Okay, so if I start with my sign to test that, that's a less than sign because it's my left hand. Where do you shade for less than? Below. Did they shade it below? Okay, let's also look. What's 60 divided by 2? You have a calculator.
30.
60 divided by 2. You have a calculator. 30 minus 3 over 2x. 30 is my starting value. It doesn't have the x. Does it start at 30? Nope. Okay, so B doesn't work. B says 30. 20. All right, C. Let me have Andrea help me write it out. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Is at most less than or equal to or greater than or equal to? Very good. Less than or equal to 60. All right. Look, you got a question? Don't tell me the answer. Why? Yeah, but at most, you use opposite. It's less than or equal to. And if I'm less than you, I shade below. Okay? All right, so I draw my line, circle Y. Ethan G, what happens there? Huh? What do I do next right here? So make it negative 2x. What else do I do? Divide by 3. Okay. So I'm going to check my symbol. That's the less than, like the left hand. Less than, you shade below. So they did. What's 60 divided by 3?
Oh, that one is 20.
20. Does this start at 20? Okay. And then it should go down 2 and over 3. Down 2 over 3. Does it?
Yeah.
So it's C. Okay. All right. Number 7. Compare the slope of the graph to a line with a y-intercept of -2 and an x-intercept of 3. Which one has the smaller slope? Gracie, what am I circling? So a y-intercept of -2 is going to be important. Dylan? Good. Circle slope. And a x-intercept of 3. Okay, let's first find the slope of the graph. So we got to pick 2 points. You got to pick 2 points to find the slope of the graph. If I start right here in the middle, what direction do you go? You go down and then over. So how many did I go down? And over 2. Be careful. Is this line going down or going up? So it needs to be negative. Okay? So the slope of this graph is -1/2. Raise your hand if you have a question about how you get that. Okay. It also said compare. To compare, you have to have 2 things. To compare, you got to have 2 things. We also have to find the slope of these 2 things. You have to make 2 points. Write this on your paper. You have to have 2 points. A y-intercept of -2. You put -2 in the y spot. You put -2 in the y spot. Anybody know what number goes here?
0.
Very good. 0. For the x-intercept, you put 3 in the x spot. You put 3 in the x spot. What do you put in the empty one? 0. Okay? All right. We're still doing slope. My slope, we've done this earlier. What's the slope formula? Good. Y minus y over x minus x. So I've got negative 2 minus 0 over 0 minus 3. All right, you can use your calculator. Negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. You cannot leave your answer like that. A negative over a negative is a positive. Okay, we're almost done. We just have to read the question. Which one has the smaller slope? Negative 1/2 or positive 2/3? Which one's smaller? Which one's smaller? A negative is always smaller than a positive. A negative is always smaller than a positive. So this is the final answer, negative 1/2. Okay, number 8, graph and label the slope and the y-intercept. Dylan, what do you have to do first? Draw your line. Tamara, what else do you have to do? Haley, what else do you have to do? Good, and it's positive, so it becomes minus 1x. Jacob Shelton, what else do you have to do? Very good. You divide by negative 1. Ethan G., what happens when you divide by negative 1? Very good. The sign flips. The sign flips. Daniel, 4 divided by negative 1. Blake, negative 1 divided by negative 1. Positive 1. Okay. All right. Dylan, which one's the starting value? Negative 4 or 1? So I go down 4. It's the one without the x. The one without the x. So you go down 4 and put a point. And then you go up 1 and over 1. Up 1 and over 1. Don't forget on this one, it's not a solid line. It's dotted because there's no line underneath.
But there's no line underneath to equal it to its right line. So how do you figure out what
All right, less than, you shade below.
Okay, so less than you shade below and more than you shade below.
Yes. Same shading rules. It's just a solid line. Okay? All right. Make sure that you put M equals and B equals on your paper. M equals and B equals. What does M stand for, Daniel? Good. Slope. So I'll look over here. Which one of these numbers is the slope? The 1. What does B stand for? It stands for the y-intercept, which is negative 4. Okay, number 9. Blake, read this one. Good. Dylan, what's a word I should circle? I heard that. Domain is your x. Tamara. Okay. Andrew, what's something else I should circle? Good. 60 people. All right, so my answer has to have 60 in it, so I can mark out A and B. C says all real numbers. D says all positive integers. If I'm talking about people, they have to be what? Positive. So the answer is D. Has to be positive. People can't be negative. All right, Dylan, read the last one. Good. Gracie, give me something to circle. Tamara, something else to circle.
Domain.
Blake, one more thing that's really important. Very good. Domain normally is X. In this problem, what letter are they using instead of X? T. And it says T is the number of years that it operated. What year did it start in? It started in 2003, and then it broke in 2013. How many years did the machine operate? 10 years. So look at your answer choices.
Why does it say all of the real numbers?
Well, they've already narrowed it down between 0 and 10, and so it operated at a year and a half. It was still operating at 2 years and 3 days. It was still operating. Like, it was operating at every possible point between 0 and 10, it was operating.
Why does it say all real numbers?
Because that's what real numbers means. Real numbers means not just whole numbers. It means fractions and decimals. Other questions?